As a startup CFO, you know potential investors. And you know the difference between debt and equity. That's basic business knowledge. You know why you have to focus on equity, and you know how to line up the equity investors. So start with your first family and friends money in order to build the first proof. Then you can go tackle a business angel. You know why a business angel is important because of his advice and network he can bring in, and you know when to go to venture capital because they can help you to scale up. This is important knowledge. Now there are some basics you need to do in order to get those investors to the table, and this chapter is actually about the basics, and this is the one about the business plan. You have to do a business plan, and this sounds a little contradictory to some extent, because we're always talking about uncertainty and say, okay, there's no possibility to plan and there's no prediction possible, so you have to beat the uncertainty by being factual and so on. However, investors ask you for a business plan. Actually, it's also good for you to do a business plan, even if you know you are factual and even if you know you can't predict. Because it is about thinking it all through once. And if it's all wrong, it's also good that you thought it through because you're prepared for that, what could go wrong. And this is what this chapter is about. So first of all, how do you write a great business plan? It's a template for you. It helps you to document what you have to do. It helps you to think about everything, and actually it helps you to throw some of the ideas away earlier because you see, it might not work out like I want it. However, you fill in everything, you think it once through, and you also go in scenarios. We're gonna get that in a minute. But when the plan hits the ground, it's all wrong. So when you start your business plan will be wrong. And this is again contradictory. Write something you know will be wrong in the future. But every business plan I wrote in my life was wrong. But it was necessary to write that business plan because it helped me rethinking my business, getting a good idea of what I'm going into, and trying to really understand it and thinking about some things before I start the business. How you can do that? Well, there are people who write this like 20 pages, a Word file. Others do it totally different and say, okay, first of all, the first thing I use is the business model canvas. And the business model canvas helps me tremendously understanding how I achieve my goal of building my business. You start by understanding some kind of value proposition, and this value proposition actually is closely related with the customer problem. So there's a customer problem, there's your solution. Your solution helps to solve the customer problem, and this is how you think that entire thing through from the right to the left side, and then you add the financials down there. So this is how you can go into designing actually your business plan also. Or this is how you can go in to understand your main model. And then maybe there are a couple issues lacking, like organization, industry structure, whatever you have to go deeper into. But if you want to do it quick, you can also use the business model canvas. However, then you have to put it in maybe slides or in PowerPoint or Word, and you like to put it together for you and also put it together for someone else. And before we go into further detail of how you put it together, then you hand this business plan out to the investors. I mean, even VCs or some angels want to read something, and this is what you need to prepare. However, having said that, investors look into a business plan always from their perspective. The biggest difference, like if you tackle a bank, banks are not good investors in early stages when the risk is very high, but later on, what they like to see is they like to see assets. So assets they can use as securities, and ideally free cash flows in order to pay for the interest rates and also for the repayments maybe. So this is their perspective. If you tell them, oh, it's a very risky thing, it's very uncertain, we can make a lot of money. So if you have something like this, a venture capitalist will love it and say, well, great risk-return relationship, very high. Maybe this is the 1 out of 10. Well, they think everyone is the 1 out of 10. However, this is the 1 out of 10. So they have a different perspective on that. This is why it makes sense if you build your business plan. We always did it in PowerPoint slides, to use PowerPoint slides, because you can prepare the PowerPoint slides for every aspect of your business. You can prepare a slide and then you can put them together in different ways, being feasible for your angel, VC, bank later on, and so on. But always remember, the world's gonna change and your business is gonna change, especially if you hit the uncertainty. And you can see that looking at successful companies like Hilti or Dow Corning. They renewed their business model. So even they had to change, and you have to do it definitely. Because again, you will prepare a business plan. You have to prepare a business plan on the one hand to rethink your business, on the other hand to give it to the investor that he has some basis for his decisions. And by the way, he always discusses that with you. And discussing that with you means he gets a feeling whether you're really into that business, but whether you are a good entrepreneur, being able to react. So thinking that through thoroughly makes a lot of sense when handing that over, because then you'll get into that mode of getting to know the investor, showing that you're the right entrepreneur to invest into, and so on. But remember, all big businesses also change their model, and you facing the uncertainty, you definitely have to change the model. So your business plan will definitely be wrong. However, you still have to do that.